Hi everyone, welcome to Train Forever. I'm Andrew Barr, and today we're talking about split squats and lunges. Specifically, are they good exercises? Should they be in your program? Is one better than the other? What are the differences between the two movements, and does one have any specific advantages over the other? First of all, split squats and lunges are both great exercises. The only reason that you wouldn't want either one in your program is if the movement causes you pain. Whether you're looking for size, strength, or performance, split squats and lunges both make a great addition to your program. Even though neither movement is a true single leg exercise, both exercises provide many of the same benefits that you would be looking to get from including single leg work in your program. I know that a lot of people believe that the only thing you need to do for your lower body or legs is squats and deadlifts, but that's just simply not true. Sports, and more importantly, life, takes place on one leg at a time. And for that reason, you need to be strong and stable on one leg. Including exercises that develop single leg strength and stability is a must for any well-rounded training program. The main difference between split squats and lunges is that in the lunge, your feet move, and in the split squat, they don't. To do a split squat, you take that first big step to get into your working position, and then you move straight up and down, mostly by bending your knees. In the lunge, you step forwards or backwards, depending on if you're doing forwards or reverse lunges, in and out of the lunge position on each rep, pushing yourself back into that starting feet side by side position after each repetition is completed. A great analogy for this is that on the split squat, the hips and really the torso move like an elevator straight up and down. And with the lunge, the hips move like an escalator downwards diagonally. Both split squats and lunges develop strength in the muscles of the thigh and the glutes and are also great for developing balance and stability too. Let's look at each movement in a bit more detail, starting with the split squat. Split squats are less technically complex than lunges because the feet don't move. That makes them a great choice for beginners because they provide a stable base of support. This doesn't mean that it's an easy exercise. Also, because of the stable base of support that the split squat offers, that makes them an excellent option to load up heavily. It would be perfectly reasonable for a lot of people to gradually work up to doing a split squat with, say, 100-pound dumbbells in each hand. Now, obviously, a larger person is going to have an easier time reaching that threshold than a smaller person, but the takeaway is you can really load up a split squat. In fact, I recommend treating it like a main strength lift, the same way that you would squats, deadlifts, or presses. You can build a whole training day around a split squat. Treating it like the main lift of the day and perhaps doing squatting or deadlifting after you've done the split squat as your main lift. Now, I wouldn't train that way all the time, but it's a perfectly valid method of training, and I think it would be a good idea for most lifters to take that approach to split squats at least at some points throughout their training calendar. Just as you would with any main strength lift, you can use a variety of rep ranges when training your split squat. You're probably going to get the best results working in that 5 to 10 rep zone. If you're interested in working in a higher rep zone, I would instead focus on the lunge. Split squats are also best done on the slower side of things, just like you would with squatting and deadlifting. That's not to say that you don't have high intent to move and you don't try to move very quickly. It's just that you select an amount of weight that makes actually moving quickly impossible. I recommend prioritizing dumbbells and kettlebells for supplying your load for the split squat, moving to barbell variations only when grip strength becomes a limiting factor. If you're finding this content useful and informative, go ahead and give me a like and make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss another training tip. I'll be putting out a new video each week to help you get the most out of your training sessions. Thanks so much. I really appreciate your support. Moving on to lunges. Lunges are a true accessory exercise. You wouldn't build a training day around a lunge. The fact that you step in and out of the lunge position in both forwards and reverse lunge variations makes the movement less stable. And that means that you should load it more lightly to balance things out and keep things safe. If you really want to load a lunge heavily, don't. Do a split squat. Because of the lighter loading, lunges can, and probably should, be done with a little bit more speed, particularly as you push yourself out of the bottom position to return to the starting position. Some people will argue that this gives great sport-specific transfer, but I argue that this is overstated. You lunge so much faster in a sporting context, think tennis or racquetball, than you do in the weight room. Now, even though the sport-specific transfer might be minor at best, that doesn't mean that lunging in the weight room isn't a useful way to develop strength and stability in the positions that you might find yourself in when playing sport. A crucial strategy for helping to mitigate the risk of injury. Forward lunges can be tough on the knees. Now, that doesn't mean that they're bad for everybody's knees, but the work of the front leg in the forward lunge can put a significant amount of stress on that knee. Changing things up periodically between reverse lunges and forward lunges is a great way to manage this wear and tear while still getting the benefits of keeping lunging in your program. When you step forwards into a lunge, the muscles of the thigh in the front leg need to do two things almost simultaneously. They need to brake to decelerate your forward falling action as you step forward into the lunge. And then they need to contract and help you push down into the ground to push you into the starting position. That combination of both deceleration and concentric force pushing you back is quite a lot of work for that front leg. In the reverse lunge, the amount of work is more evenly distributed between the two legs. Because you step back with one leg, the leg that you step back with does a lot of the decelerating, and the front leg is left to only do the pushing work. So you can see how in the reverse lunge, there's a little bit more of an equitable distribution of load. And of course, you're going to do both legs in your set and develop both legs equally. And it's just a little less peak wear and tear as compared to the forward lunge. So all else equal, I tend to prioritize the reverse lunge over the forward lunge for most of my clients. As a true accessory lift, lunging works great both in the warm-up and then also with lighter load and higher reps in the accessory phase of your training session. So in summary, both split squats and lunges are great exercises that can build strong thighs, hips that move well, and help with balance and coordination. And you want to have at least one, if not both, in your program, most, if not all of the time. The only reason why you would deliberately avoid either variation is if it causes you pain, in which case you can prioritize the movements that don't cause you pain, or you can look to other similar alternative exercises like step-ups and get the benefits of those exercises while avoiding pain. Under no circumstances should you ever do an exercise that causes you pain. Treat split squats like a main strength lift and load them accordingly, remembering that you can build a whole training session around the split squats. Treat lunges as an accessory lift, which therefore require lower load, higher rep scheme, and can be done with higher speed as well. Because they're more stable, split squats make a great choice for beginners who can take advantage of that stable base of support before looking to include lunge variations later on in their training career. If you check out either of my training programs, Strength at Home or Strength Training Essentials, you'll find that both programs introduce you to the split squat for a few weeks before eventually progressing you to the lunge. So split squats and lunges are great exercises that have more in common than not, but the differences between the two movements does mean that we have to treat them differently when we're creating our training programs. Whatever variation of each works best for you, get it in your program and reap some of these benefits. Build strong thighs, hips that move well, and balance and coordination. These are excellent, excellent exercises, and as long as they don't hurt, try and get them in your program. I hope you thought today's video was useful, and if you did, please give me a like and make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss another training tip. I'll be putting out a new video each week to help you get the most out of your training sessions. If you head to the description, you can find lots of great stuff, including my free guide to building core strength, as well as Strength Training Essentials and Strength Training at Home, my two 12-week training programs made specifically for beginners. And if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can find information about my online coaching too. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.